I had a weird experience a couple of weeks ago. I was working frantically on a project for the day on my computer, and I was in one of those periods of time that we get in sometimes when our time is really short. We don't have a lot of time for the things, there's too many things going on and too many places we have to be. But I had set apart this day, and I only had this day to finish this particular project, and I spent 9 hours without hardly getting up from the computer working on this particular writing thing that I needed to get done. And it was just really hard work. It had taken all the concentration, all the energy that I had, and I finally got the thing done. And I was just so relieved. And my daughter was coming over. We were going to go to the Relief Society women's broadcast, and she was coming down, and she showed up at the door, and I thought, oh, I made it. I got done in time, and I saved the file, and I went to greet her and to change my clothes so we could go. And then I thought, oh, I should send this to my husband before I leave because he'll need to see this. And I went to open the file up again to send it to him, and it was gone. Could not find that thing anywhere. And I was in an absolute, I can't even tell you how panicky I was. I mean, I've had people dying in the hospital that I have prayed about less intently than I was praying. Please, please, please. I was so frantic. And I tried everything, and I realized that what had happened was I had opened this file to work on it from an attachment that someone had sent me, and I didn't realize that I hadn't saved it to my computer, and it had disappeared into the Ethernet. And I tried to figure out what I'd done, and I saved over top of it again, so now it was really gone. Anyway, it was a big mess. I called my nephew, and he worked for an hour with me, trying to help me recover that file. He's an expert computer person and couldn't find it. I called somebody else, my son. He couldn't help me. He wasn't able to find it. I got online. I paid people online, dozens of dollars to help me find this thing. Nobody, it was just gone. And in the process, I called somebody at my husband's work, and to try to get him to help me, and he was out of town. And so it was just gone. And I was just beside myself. With how hard that had been and how frustrated I was. And I found that it wasn't just even losing the file that was making me crazy. It was that I felt so stupid about being so upset about something that was so trivial compared to all the losses that we face in the world. All the things that go wrong in people's lives. This was such a silly thing, but it was just, and so I not only felt horrible about losing this file, but I felt horrible about me for being so upset about losing the file. And I just finally, I just couldn't cope with this very well, and I thought, all right, what's the important thing here? The important thing is that I try to learn from whatever's happened here, and that I trust the Lord, that whatever needs to happen, that it'll be okay. And I kept thinking, I don't want to have to redo this whole file. I want this file. I don't want to have to do it over. I don't want it to be okay. I want it to be saved. And it was a very hard day for me. But to make a longer story a little shorter here, I went to my back window, and I was looking at the window. My daughter left, and I was just looking up sort of into the heavens, just, kind of pleading with the Lord. And saying, just please help me be equal to this. Help me be graceful about this. Help me to trust that whatever happens here, it's going to be okay. And as I'm praying that prayer, looking off into the heavens, the words came into my mind, clear as a bell. Why do you keep me so far away? And I realized that very literally, I was acting as if God were 1 billion miles into the sky. And I thought, that's not a good place. I need him close. And so I said, all right, you come, sit by me, hold my hand, and give me the courage and the comfort that I need to move forward. And I realized as I did that I didn't really want God to be that close. I was keeping him away. I didn't want him to be close to me because I felt stupid and guilty and ashamed of the way I was making such a big deal out of something that shouldn't have been, all that big of a deal. And the interesting thing that happened was I felt as if Jesus were in the room saying to me, no, this is not stupid. This is not silly. I get this. This is hard. This is hard to work so hard on something and then have it disappear. And in that moment, I truly felt the atonement was mine. That Jesus had come close to me, not only spiritually, but as a brother, as a friend, saying, I get it. This is hard. And sisters, I thought of all the people I know, probably many of you here today that I don't know, who have worked so hard to save things they love, only to have them disappear, or who have worked so hard to acquire some ability, only to have it feel like it's faded away and they're left there with their shame. But I want to testify to you that I know Jesus knows us. He isn't standing there, with his arms crossed, looking down his nose at us. He wants to come close. He wants to comfort us. He wants to be with us. He gets it. He gets us, and he gets the difficulties that we face in this life.